Hello and welcome to another week of my CX vlogs. I hope you enjoy them. I'll continue doing them. It seems to go down quite well. So yeah, Monday the 24th of August today, so start of a new week. Had a bit of a lazy start this morning. I didn't have a job booked in. To be honest, I had a bit of a lie-in because I'm still knackered. And then I had a few jobs to sort, like getting all my invoices ready and posted for last week's work, and then went on the CX about 10:30. Plenty of jobs on there at 10:30. There's about 11 or 12, a dozen or so on my live feed. Got a job within 10 minutes. It's a short wheel, but there was a small van job, like north of Walsall, WS8 down to Cardiff. Pretty straightforward, really small box. I had to meet a courier guy from another firm, the firm who booked me. I had to meet one of their drivers. It's the first time I've ever done that. I was kind of a bit worried, thinking, no, I hope he's going to be there. So obviously I rang ahead half an hour before I got there and yeah, arranged it, and it was all hunky dory. Got that off really quick, and then the job pinged up pretty soon after that. As in, that drop was in Newport, really. And then Cardiff job pinged up, short wheelbase job, Cardiff to Tewkesbury. So I'm in Tewkesbury now. Back in Tewkesbury, seems to always come here. Yeah, I seem to price that job. I don't know what went wrong, but I priced it too cheap, really. Because this week I want to really push it. I don't short small van jobs. I'll do them for 70p a mile, including my getting there miles, and I'm trying to get at least 75 for the short wheelbase, maybe a bit more. But with this one I cocked up, so it was 75p a mile loaded. But with getting there and it not being that long a job, it was 62.5p all in. So that's not enough, really. Don't know what I did there. So sat in Tewkesbury now. Tewkesbury's not far from Droitwich, where I do quite a lot of Amazon from. I have in the past. So I've got a block booked in an hour's time. It's 5 o'clock now. 6 o'clock pickup. Yeah, but evening Amazon Flex blocks. I didn't mention it last time, but I will just do a quick update here now. A few things I want to add about Amazon Flex, and I'll best shown when I've got a parcel in my hand. Two things I want to add there to Amazon Flex. So I did a video, short clip a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, about Flex. So the first thing I want to mention, which is a positive, is I mentioned the rate. So Droitwich, where I got this on, the basic rate is £13 an hour. If you go to somewhere where they struggle to get drivers like Banbury, it's up to £14.5 an hour, and it varies for each depot. That's the minimum they'll pay. So when they're struggling to sell a block, get somebody to take it, the closer it gets to the pickup time, it'll start going up. So there's one today from Droitwich picking up 3:45. Didn't tip my last job till 4, so I couldn't take it. That got up to about £16 an hour. In Christmas time, other busy periods when you've got sales on, it'll get up to, I've seen £21 an hour. So you might do a 3-hour block, 63 quid, and it could take you an hour and a half if you get a good one. The second thing I want to mention, which is not so good, is everything I said on the first video applies to Amazon standard delivery. So typically they'll be picking up late morning, early afternoon. If you get an evening block, which this one is, I knew it was when I took it, 'cause it's 6 o'clock pickup. So anything from 5:30 onwards, Amazon same day, and that's not quite so good because it's same day. Obviously it's less bunched together, so you pretty much have to drive between every drop. It's normally 1 or 2 minutes. Just takes you longer, you get paid the same, just doesn't work out as well. So this is 3.5 hour block with the picking up. It's going to take me, these will take me typically anywhere between 2.5 hours and 2 3/4 hours if you get like an urban block like this one. So yeah, they're not quite as good. You've got to be a bit careful as well. I did a Wednesday block on a Sunday, 4 o'clock, so I thought it's going to be standard delivery, it's going to be, bunched together, it's going to be, a piece of piss. Turned out to be same day, and it took me, I think it was a 3.5 hour block, and that one took me 3 hours. So then you're not getting paid quite so well. So the best Amazon blocks are late morning, early afternoon, and you get the same day. And you can tell by looking at the code on the parcel. So I'm going to try and show you without giving the details of the customer away. This one, see there below the little 3D barcode, is same day. So obviously that means it's Amazon same day, which is the not so good block. If it was a standard one, it would say cycle 1 there, and they're the ones you really want to get. They're the ones that work out best. Yeah, so that was Monday. Amazon Flex block took me actually about 3 hours in the end from going into a depot to dropping my last parcel, which isn't great really when you think about it. So that's like 45 quid for 3 hours work, £15 an hour. Not great, but for me, you know, I knew what I was letting myself in for. It kind of took me home as well, so I was in Tewkesbury, picked up in Droitwich, and then home from there really. So it took me to Birmingham, so it worked out quite well, because 8 times out of 10 from Droitwich in the evening you end up in Birmingham. So I took a bit of a risk because it could have sent me the wrong direction, but yeah, it worked out all right in the end. So that was Monday. Right, so Tuesday now, but just quickly on Monday again. Take-ins for the day, it was 79 for the first job down to Newport, 55 the job from Cardiff to Tewkesbury, which are underpriced, ballsed up, and then £45.50 for the Amazon. So it was near as damn it 180 for the day, which wasn't bad really, considering I didn't get my first job. I didn't log on to the CX until 10:30, so I was quite happy with that. Today, this morning, was really frustrating. So I logged on to the CX. So I stayed at home. I was a bit later logging on to the CX because it's hard to drag yourself out of bed when you know you're going to probably be sleeping in a van. Good chance the rest of the week. So 8:15 I logged on. Started posting and bidding for jobs. Didn't get my first job until 11. And because I was waiting for so long, quoted a bit keenly on a short wheelbase job, 6 miles from my house. Down to in between, well, it's Andover down south, so it's sort of yeah, it's hard to describe really, but it's just picking up a box on a plastic pallet, which was a pain, to be honest. I was glad to get this load off, because even though I put ratchet straps and lashed it down, because it's a plastic pallet and it's very small contact patches with the bed of the van, it just wanted to slide round even though I had it strapped, and I couldn't strap it too tight because it was a cardboard box on top, so it would just lose its shape. Don't know what was in it, but I delivering to some energy company by Alton down south, and learned something. I didn't think there was any oil fields in the UK on land, but apparently so, because that's where I delivered to. Some kind of petrochemical place. People walking around, look like it should be in the oil fields of America, with funny safety hats on and big overalls. Funny place really, right in the middle of the forest. So that was quite interesting, and that's where I am now. So I'm just sat here. I think I'm right next to some big airfield, because just as I parked up here there was an almighty noise of a jet engine. Wondered what the hell it was at first. So this is all part of the adventure. So I was a bit pinging up here, but I'm quite far from I'm just kind of in the middle of nowhere here, so I'm going to head up towards the M4, Basingstoke. It's only 7 miles away, and from there I'll be in more chance of getting a job, so I'll be closer to places. That's Tuesday so far. Alright, Wednesday morning now, but just to recap Tuesday. So yeah, I moved up to Basingstoke by the M3, sat there, didn't get anything else, so just the one job on a Tuesday. So it was really disappointing. Since I've gone back on the CX post-COVID, working it full-time pretty much, apart from the odd flex block when I turn up a tip up in the right place, it's been my second worst day. So yeah, one job which was priced at 70p a mile, short wheelbase job, including getting air miles, but I was really local to it anyway. So I did £100 yesterday to just about scrape 3 figures. It's obviously disappointing, it's not enough. So after my day costs, so fixed costs of about 12 quid, which is all my insurance and tax and all that, insurances I should say, tax and stuff, that's 12 quid, probably about 20p a mile. These costs are probably a bit low, and working out properly and sharing with you, that's about 30 quid. So even with the VAT bonus, I reckon I made somewhere between 65 and 70 quid. And I was on the CX actively looking from 8:15 to say 6:15 for 10 hours. So obviously a crap day. but I think you're going to get the odd crap day on doing this line of work. For me, I try and look at the weekly average, how much I average in a day over the week. As long as I average what I have been doing or better, it's okay, you know. But yeah, it does need to pick up. So I think yesterday was just a quiet day on the CX. Struggled obviously in the morning to get a job. Didn't seem to be as many jobs pinging up in the Midlands as there had been late last week and on the Monday. And down here as well, because I set my home area to here, I should be getting updates from sort of like West London, Heathrow way, which is really busy normally. And I was getting some, so it was working, but just not many. So I think it's just quiet. So I went for a run yesterday in the evening. Kept my eye on the CX, hoping to get a late job just to save the day, but it didn't happen. And then after the run, harvester lunch. Rishi Sunak had his credit card out. It was being a Tuesday. He's got a half-price meal at Harvester, and then kicked in the van in the Harvester car park because it's a Harvester and Travelodge car park, and there wasn't any signs there about limited parking or anything, so I just stopped there in a van. Shell garage across the way, so it's only down to half a tank, but filled up just in case I end up having a busy day. You never know. Be prepared. Got my meal deal, so I'm sat in Morrison's car park now in Basingstoke. A few jobs have pinged up, but it's only it's still quite early. It's about 8:30 maybe, so hopefully it'll pick up about 9, and I can get cracking. 8:30. Hoping for a better day today. Need to make up for yesterday. Alright, still Wednesday. It's the second day I've got to 11 AM. I've not had a first job. So Basingstoke still in the Morrisons. Bid on a fair few jobs, but most of the jobs coming up seem to be west towards London, Slough way. Bid on a couple of small van jobs that have come up in the Basingstoke area, so I've been within 10 minutes and both quoted normal small van job money, and even on top of it I haven't got any. So yeah, can I just head west about 20 miles to Lightwater just off the M3, and that'll put me a lot closer to Slough and West London, and hopefully pick up a job from there. There's going to be more vans, but just not enough work around here. So yeah, just going to have to take a few dead miles and head west and hope for better. Alright, Wednesday evening, almost a blank today, so I should have said in the morning before I left Basingstoke. I did actually put a quote in on one job. The guy phoned me up. It was a small van job, so I quoted it absolutely as low as it could go because it was quite far away. It's Newbury. And it's one of them situations where you've quoted on a few jobs and the shipper phones you up and tries to barter with you. So he said, "Can you do it for 65? I'm like, I don't know what I bid. So I said to him, "What did I bid?" And he's like, "Oh, can't remember." I'm like, and then he says, "Oh, it's not actually Newbury either. It's Junction something or other on the M4. So how am I supposed to price that?" So I says, "Oh, I can't price that off you, mate, off that info." And he said, "Fair enough." And went looking at his feedback. He's got more feedback as a driver than as a seller, so he's probably just a driver with some of his own customers, probably trying to sell jobs on the run, which I can imagine is an absolute nightmare. Juggling shipping, being a shipper and a driver, that sounds like a stressful life. So yeah, I moved over to Lightwater on the M3 towards London. Bid on quite a few jobs there. Bid on one, and the customer phoned me and said that was a wait and return, which I hadn't seen. So that's why it rang me basically. And when I realised it was a wait and return, I think I bid 40. It was a crap job, localish, but heading away from London. Turns out it was wait and return, and it's more like 70 quid. So she only rang me because I obviously put a really low pricing because I didn't realise it was wait and return, and she must have thought it was a serious quote, which probably shows you what some people are quoting. And then so I got to about 1 o'clock, and I was starting to think I could be on a blank here. You know what I mean? 1 o'clock, no job. I've been watching since 6:30. Obviously, it doesn't really pick up until 9. Got up at 6:30 because kipping in the back of the van. eventually snagged the job. It was a job I bid on. I thought very little chance of me getting that, but I ended up getting it. It was back in Newbury, so it was back the way I've just come. So it was like quite a few miles away and 45-minute drive. Short wheel, small van job, 101 miles, 2 drops, and it was alcohol. Never done alcohol before, so actually bid 97 on it. The guy rang me up after about 10-minute wait as well. He says, "Yeah, you've got it. We can give it you, but we'll call it 100." So I actually put an extra £3 in a job, which is the first time a shipper's ever done that for me. It's only £3, but it all helps. So I had to then go back to where I passed Basingstoke, basically. So it didn't work out my move over there in the end, but you never know. Past Basingstoke, up to sort of Newbury area, pick up these kegs of beer from an alcohol distribution centre, and then I had one pub in Abingdon by Oxford and the other one in Warminster, which is where I am now. So it's the first time I did alcohol. 7 kegs, 4 at the first, 3 at the second. No, 3 at the first. No, yeah, 4 at the first, 3 at the second. And they're bloody heavy, 40 to 50 k's each, which is doable by yourself. I'm quite fit and healthy, but you know, they're paid pretty much £1 a mile for a small van job in terms of loading miles, so that was a bit of an interesting one for me. I've bid on a fair few alcohol jobs in Birmingham, never got them, probably just because in Birmingham there's so many drivers, they probably get really low prices, but this is slightly out of the way in Newbury. So £1 a mile, yeah, if I was like more on top of it, I'd be on good money for that. But as it turned out, it was about 70p a mile, loaded and unloaded, so better than nothing. So very little chance of getting a job in Warminster for the morning. So I'm going to move towards Bath, just the other side of Bath, Bristol side of Bath, basically, or Bath, and how posh you are. And then from there, I can get into Bristol, or get into the east side of Bristol pretty quick, and still pick up jobs like Chippenham, I think, and Bath if something does come up, or Frome. So yeah, that's the plan for the morning. Another disappointing day, so £100 again today. So £100 for that job. Obviously doing a fair few dead miles before that job and a few miles now afterwards as well. Probably about 40 dead miles in total. So yeah, not a great day. Need a good Thursday and Friday now, so I'm not doing very well. Alright, Thursday evening now, so haven't filmed through the day Thursday because I've actually had a bit of a busier day. So after the last couple of days, I was very grateful for. So yeah, I was perched and I tramped in Bath, sort of Bristol side of Bath, the west side, or Bath. Yeah, and then I got a job quite early on. So I did 3 different jobs today, none of them particularly long jobs, but learning from each one. So the first job was from a place called Keynsham, sort of like the Bath side of Bristol, so it wasn't too far down the road. About 10 minutes to get there. It was a small van job. I priced it at total mileage, getting there, unloaded miles at 75p. Was it 70p? I can't remember. Anyway, I got the job. It was only £30 that job, but I was just keen to get going. I wasn't going to do a job for £25, so I went in at 30, got it. And that was picking up from like a transport firm. They sorted me out pretty quick. This is one of them jobs where if I wasn't careful, I could have quite easily ended up with a pallet stuck on the van, which is a bit of a nightmare when you're on the move, you know, when you're a courier, especially when you're out tramping. So if anyone watches Peter Courier Driver, Peter Coath's channel, he's done a good video recently about this. If you haven't checked out his channel, I'm sure you have if you found this, but go and check it out. Before I bought my van, I watched pretty much all of his videos, and I watch them all now, and I quite often comment and contribute to his questions that he posts on there. She does a great job. So here it was picking up from a transport firm but delivering to a residential address, and turned up, and the forklift driver, fair play to him, got on it straight away, ready to drop the forklift down with this really large box on it. And I looked at the paperwork, could see it was a residential address, but obviously the forklift driver doesn't look at that, he's not really concerned, as he just wants to get it loaded and get you gone. So basically said to him, he put the pallet level with the floor and we just pushed the box off onto the van, and then I had to get the customer to help me the other end to unload it, which isn't ideal, but more on that later. So yeah, it was just a quick one where if you're new to this like I am, or you're thinking of taking it up, you just got to really be careful you don't end up lumbered with the lumber that is a pallet, literally. So yeah, that one could have gone wrong, but luckily saw it. Second job then was, where was the second job? So I was in Newport. Second job pinged up, that was Bristol to Yeovil. So I thought, I'm not going to, Yeovil's a bit in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, I priced that 80p a mile, including getting there miles. Short wheelbase job. Got there, they loaded me pretty quick. It was just like a DHL depot for the vans. Going down to a residential address again, so it was very similar to the first one, which was quite rare because 9 times out of 10 it's business to business. It's very rare that either or of the addresses is actual residential. So I had 2 on a bounce, and this was a large flat box. It was down as a short wheelbase van job. If somebody turned up in a genuine 2.4 metre load length short wheelbase van, which is the CX definition, it wouldn't have gone on. It was bigger than 2.2, which they put in the dimensions, but my van's almost 3 meters, so I got it on. Got down there. The learning from this one is not so much a learning, more of a gripe really. I've had it a few times where you pick up from these places and really it should have been on a 2-man delivery, this parcel, so I had to ask the customer again for the second job. I've had it happen before as well, to help me unload it from the van, which, you know, it's just a bit unprofessional, even though I'm just doing as I was booked for. So it doesn't really come back on me, but I just don't think it's great. And it was absolutely pissing it down. It was proper stormy in Yeovil. Thunder and lightning, torrential rain. It wasn't going to stop anytime soon, so he just had to put his coat on and help me, and he was fine about it, but sadly wasn't overly impressed. But yeah, not sure what to do there. Not a lot you can do really, so other than ask. But if it was like a frail old person that lived in the house, gonna be a bit stuck on that one. So interested to know, anyone's got an experience of this, what would you do in the comments? And then the third job pinged up, so I was in Yeovil. So the third learning, which is kind of to do with the third job, was I was in Yeovil. Yeovil's a reasonable sized town. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's between Bristol and say Bournemouth. There's no real good roads getting to it, no real dual carriageway that I can see, or motorways, way off the motorways. So something I did that almost paid off. A few weeks ago I had a tip in Glastonbury, so in one of my first vlogs, and my next job I got was in Yeovil, because Yeovil's not that far from Glastonbury really, about half an hour drive, 40 minutes. And when I picked up in Yeovil 2 weeks ago, I picked up at a courier's premises. So I knew they were a good firm because I obviously picked up from there and they were pretty sound. So I thought, why not give them a ring? So I gave them a ring, said did a job for you a few weeks ago off the CX, just tipped in CX, I just thought I'd give you a ring just in case you got something. And the guy says, oh yeah, thanks for calling, but we haven't actually got anything in at the moment. And he was ready to, you know, hang up and stuff. So I just said to him, can I just give you my CX number? If anything does pop up, I'm going to be in Yeovil for the next hour or so, having some lunch, just looking on the CX. Yeah, so gave him he took my CX number, and I was thinking, well, maybe he just didn't write it down, maybe just being polite. And about half an hour later, he rang me up and says, we've had a job come in, Yeovil to Slough. Would you be interested? Of course I would have been. It would have been a great job, but I'd accepted my third job. So that shows it does work to cold call local couriers if you know you're in a quiet town, especially. I don't think there's much point cold calling someone in Birmingham or Manchester because there's just so many drivers, but I know in the likes of Yeovil, a bit out of the way but reasonable sized town with a courier firm, it's worth giving them a bell, because the worst that can happen is they say no, you know, and if you leave them your CX number, they can check out your feedback and give you a call back if they want. So it almost paid off. So I just said, oh, I'm sorry, I've actually got a job, but thanks very much, I really appreciate you taking the time to call me back. So that's good. Yeah, so the third job I actually picked up was a small van job about 20 minutes east of Yeovil. It was just at a commercial laundry place, taking 3 bags of linen to a restaurant in Cirencester, which is where I'm sat at now. So that was pretty straightforward, apart from the roads and A and B roads all the way. So it was like 60 miles, no 70 miles, but it took me pretty much 2 hours to drive it because the roads are crap. And it was very stormy, lots of rain, big puddles. Yeah, so better day earnings wise, 150 something. So that's back to my average since what I've been averaging since I've gone on back on a CX following lockdown. So after the last couple of days, I'm happy with that, even though it's just an average day, really. So in Cirencester now, it's a bit out of the way here, so I'm going to drive 20 minutes down to the outskirts of Gloucester, just off the M5. Get some chips, I think, and then that's it for Thursday. Should be in a good spot tomorrow, hopefully, to pick up a job heading up to the Midlands. Pretty knackered now. Not the best night's sleep last night, but hey ho, almost a weekend. Right, almost there. So it's the weekend, that is. So it's midday now on the Friday. So yeah, I tramped yesterday, I don't know, on the outskirts of Gloucester, quite close to junction of the M5. Up at 6:30, didn't get another great night's sleep. Found a really good spot in a residential street, so I didn't film it. Really quiet, all good, apart from the rain. So some heavy rain in the night. Really need to get myself some earplugs. So I've woken up at least twice in the middle of the night with the rain. But I do feel like I can get a decent night's sleep in the van now. I just need to sort if it doesn't rain or I get some earplugs. So yeah, 6:30 I woke up, checked. Obviously it doesn't really pick up the CX until 9. The odd job comes through, and I checked on the Amazon Flex feed to see what was available, and there was something I've noticed lately. You'd never normally get flex blocks before 10:30, but I've noticed recently this week and maybe last, there's blocks on there starting at 8:30, and I thought, oh well, I'll check if one of them's on there, and there was 3.5 hour block, 49 quid. So it's slightly more than the standard for there as well. So I thought I'll chance it, I'll take that. Should be normal delivery, not same day. Obviously same day is going to be the evening. Went and collected, got there slightly early, because if you're booked in at 8:30, you can actually go on site, and it allows you to go on site and collect from quarter of an hour early. So I got there 8:15, but it was very busy with cars, didn't actually get my parcels until on time at 8:30. So loaded the van, got going, got going about 8:45, but sadly it was same day again. So 44 parcels, 44 drops, and a bit scattered, like a typical evening block really. So it looks like what they've done is they've changed the Amazon Flex. It's worth sharing this with you if you're thinking of doing it. The ones that are really early in the morning, so these will deliver before 1, so they must have changed on Amazon now, so you can get same day in the evening, or maybe before 12 or before 1 o'clock the next working day. So maybe they've added that option. So it didn't work out so well, so I was hoping it was going to be, a couple of hours work, maybe 2.5 hours, well, 2.25 hours work. Ended up being 3 hours work, but it did take me to Birmingham, so I'm in the West Midlands now. So it worked out in that regard. Didn't work out great in terms of how much I earned per hour, but in terms of pence per mile, it actually worked out right, even considering getting there from Gloucester. So I picked up my second job, which is got on a CX, and there's plenty of jobs on the CX West Mids. Nice to see. It took me 20 minutes to get a job. It's only a small van job from just 5 miles down the road from where I was, going to Leicester. So I priced that at 38, which probably works out at about 80 pence a mile all in. So that's all right. But got to the place. It's some kind of brass works. This piece is being coated and it's not dry yet. They apparently told the customer it wouldn't be ready until 2, and they've sent me in, get there for 12:30 at the latest. Breakdown in communication, so he said I'm going to have to wait 20 minutes, so I can't really ask for any waiting time because it's kind of standard waiting time, so it's just one of them really. It's got to sit and wait. Take the opportunity to give you a little update. So there you go, that's up until midday on the Friday. I'll get this job off to Leicester, hopefully get one back. I might just call it a day then if I can, because I am absolutely knackered. More later. Right, final on the run update. So it's now Friday evening, Friday night. It's dark, hence the pool light in here. So yeah, picked up that job from the brass place, took it to Leicester. Yeah, Leicester. Yeah, simple enough drop. And then from there, the CX is still quite busy. And it was probably like less than 5 minutes before I got my next job. It was a job I wasn't really that keen on, to be honest. So I thought I'll just price it a bit optimistically, but somehow cocked it up. And the guy rang me after about 10 seconds. Says, yeah, George, if you want it, if you're still available. And that's how you know you've gone in too cheap. And I rechecked the numbers, and it worked out with loaded miles about 67 pence a mile, which isn't the end of the world with loaded, but it was only 5 miles down the road. It was over to Congleton, picking up some 8 bags of flooring grout or flooring adhesive and taking it to some builder's house. So he wasn't even there when I got there, but he was just around the corner, no issue there. But the pickup was a bit of a pain. It was the right postcode apparently, but it was actually over a mile from the new industrial building. It's like a big industrial distribution thing, so it's just one of them things. You just gotta come along, you know. It's a pain, but you just gotta work around it. And this was down as a midi van job, so those of you who are thinking of going on a CX, you've got smallest is motorbike, then you've got car, small van, midi van, M-I-D-I van, and then short wheelbase, and then medium wheelbase. They're the ones I see because that's how I've set my filters, because I can take some medium wheelbase jobs and take all short wheelbase and lower. So I'd interested to know, anyone who watches, what kind of van would you call a midi van? So for me, a small van is something like a Peugeot Partner, or a Citroen equivalent, and then a midi van is something like a Vito, Mercedes Vito. So it's bigger than a small van, but not a short wheelbase van. Short wheelbase van would be something like mine, like a Renault Trafic, Vauxhall Vivaro, Citroen Dispatch, I think it is. Yeah, or a Transit Custom. So yeah, it's the whole van size thing you find. There's a CX definition, and every shipper's got their own little take on it, so it can get a bit confusing sometimes. So yeah, got that job off, and then I was in Congleton. It wasn't the most straightforward job. It was a bit of a cross country. It took almost 2 hours to get to Congleton. So I priced that at 57. Should have been more than that. Which put me in Congleton at about 4:45. So it was very, not much chance of getting something. There's a slight chance of getting something heading south, but driving back from Congleton, just off the M6, driving past Stoke to home for check Amazon feed again. Glad I did in the end, but it was a bit of a long one. I checked, and there was work still available that evening in the Stoke depot, Amazon, which is just not far from the M6, not far from Stoke City's football ground. And it wasn't at the standard £13 an hour. So I took a 3.5 hour block, which would pay you £45.50 from there. And it paid 63 quid, so I thought I'll have that. I'm knackered, but I've had a crap week. Tuesday, Wednesday was a bit of a disaster. Don't need the money, but I like to sort of desperately but I like to keep obviously the earnings ticking over. That's how you keep on top of things. So yeah, swiped right to accept that one. Got there got there bang on time really. Didn't have much time to spare. They only give you 5 minutes to be late. If you're more than 5 minutes late, that's it, you lose it. But normally if you chat to them at the depot nicely, they'll sort it out as long as you're not massively late. If you're 10 minutes late, fair enough. But yeah, I was bang on time, and when I got there, I could tell things weren't right, because there's probably about 70 or 80 cars all packed at the odd van But sure enough, there's a delay. So I spoke to the guy, the supervisor, says he has a 50-minute delay, so maybe the stuff turned up late or they've had a breakdown or whatever. So it's like, right, that's going to really eat into my evening. So I sat there. It was actually an hour and a quarter before I got any parcels. But because it's so much of a delay, they give you hardly any parcels. So I've got 9 parcels to deliver. I got paid 63 quid to deliver 9 parcels, and they're in, just so happens they're in Stafford, so that's where I'm sat now. So 9 parcels to deliver in Stafford. So from the time I got to the depot to when I delivered the last parcel in Stafford, it was 2.25 hours. So that's all right. In the end, it took me 45 minutes less than it's normally been taking me when I've actually got to deliver them all, you know. So it worked out well in the end. So yeah, just had a Chinese in Stafford. I was hoping to get home to cook something proper for myself, but a bit too late for that. So I just had some fried rice, and then I'm going to head south. 2 more things I want to mention about Amazon Flex, just general points, is Amazon Flex is designed really for people in cars. You can do it in vans, obviously, but I started doing it in my car. If you're going to do it in a car, it just has to have 5 doors or more. That's how they make sure you don't turn up in a tiny little 3-door car and you can't get the parcels in. So it has to be 5 doors or more. So I did it in my old Astra estate. And you don't need special insurance to do Amazon Flex, because while you're doing it, Amazon are providing additional cover themselves. So in a way, like, I've obviously got insurance on this, but if you're doing it in a car, or you know someone, or your friend or your wife or whatever fancies a bit of cash on the side, you can do it. Yeah, you don't need special insurance. It just wouldn't work otherwise. They provide insurance, otherwise nobody would do it in their cars on the side. So that's it. That's on the run bit done. So I'll just do the summary once I've worked out things. So money for today was £49 for the first morning Amazon block. 38 I think I charged for the short job over to Leicester, and then Leicester to Congleton was 57. It should have been more. Still was a disaster. And then the best paying job was actually 63 quid Amazon job, which took me 2.25 hours in the end from getting to a depot to last parcel. So that's where Amazon pays off. Like I was saying, for the morning block, you can get at better rates when they're short, obviously. So yeah, that's it. Just a summary. More later. Right, summary time. So I just watched back a lot of my footage from this week, and I keep realising a lot of it is just me in the van. So it's just got my pale face and the bulkhead. So while I was in North Wales, been back up for the weekend, lovely morning. Thought I'd film this one on the beach. I'm out for a walk, getting the sea air. Yeah, it's quite nice. And then nice straights, hills behind, up towards Snowdonia over there. Then my straights again, Anglesey in the distance. There you go. Yeah, back to Ernst. This is still what I consider to be my hometown. Just been visiting my parents. West Midlands is home, but yeah, this is still my hometown. But yeah, I'm just going to quickly go through my earnings for the week, because some people do like the summary, and I don't mind sharing this. So Monday was quite a reasonable day. I had 2 CX jobs, 1 Amazon Flex block, £179.50. Tuesday, Wednesday, as you see in the vlog, they're really frustrating, difficult days. Mostly down south I was then. Both Tuesday and Wednesday, I had 1 job each of them days, and they both paid £100. So they're reasonable sized jobs, but I spent a lot of time just sat in a van, getting a bit frustrated. Thursday, a steady day. That was all the CX, 30, 68 and 55, so quite smallish jobs. That's the problem with, like, if you don't get a big job in a day, it's hard to make the good money, I think. That's what I'm realising. Friday, had a bit of a Amazon Flex CX sandwich. So I had Amazon Flex in the morning, and then 2 CX jobs, and then yeah, finished the day off with that Stoke block, which I just filmed. So that was the best paying job at 63. So that was 207 for the day, which is pretty decent, especially on compared to the rest of the week. Anything over 200 I'm considering a good day now.
And for that day, I don't normally work at the pence per mile for a day, but I thought I would do for that day because I thought it'd be quite good. Yeah, and it worked out with 78 pence a mile for that day. And that's not loaded miles, that's all miles. So yeah, in a short wheelbase van, I can do that. That's the beauty of doing the odd multi-drop job, because quite often the pence per mile works out much better than doing light haulage. It's taken for the whole week over the 5 days was £739.50, so it's a fair bit down on last week. But considering how crap Tuesday and Wednesday were, not all that bad. £147.90 a day that works out as. So I did spend 5 full-on days really working it. I spent Monday at home, just managed to, and the rest I was tramping. So tramped Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Mileage was down at 1,084 miles. No silly trips to Scotland this week. So overall pence per mile was 68.2 pence a mile, which is again my joint highest. So pence per mile, so again that's loaded and unloaded. That's leaving the house on a Monday to when I got back on the Friday. So that's all miles, 68.2 pence a mile, which is pretty good for a short wheelbase van. That's the beauty of tramping, keeps your pence per mile up, all in. So that was the week's figures. Yeah, so that's the week done. Thanks for watching this far if you have, and thanks for subscribing. I'm almost at 100 subscribers now. Some people, so I can get them in. You see the people bodyboarding? Anyway, not bodyboarding, stand-up boarding. So this week, obviously today's Monday, the bank holiday, so it's a 4-day week. I'm actually not going to work the Friday this week because I'm away weekends mountain biking. So I've got 3 days to work, so I'm thinking it's not really worth going tramping because as soon as I go out I'm going to be looking to get back. So I'm literally going to stay around the West Mids and see what I can earn, staying local and stopping at home each night. So I'm probably not going to, I'm going to try and not go any more than an hour's away from home. And hopefully just ping around each day, get a few jobs in, see what I can earn, and be at home each evening. Give me a chance to catch up on some stuff to do at home. Yep, so that's a week. Thanks for watching. See you later.